Hello, welcome back to Blender Live. Today I want to casually talk about this app called Shapr3D app. It's probably the easiest CAD app and the most intuitive app that's available for iPad, Mac, and Windows. So this app is not completely free. It's actually free for student, and you can create two different designs, and you can export it into Blender as a low polygon STL. I'm gonna show you later, but yeah, I want to talk about this app because it's a really cool app. If you ever works with CAD, normally it's something that sounds really complicated, but these apps kind of manage to make it really intuitive and easy to design. I'm not gonna make a tutorials of the whole tutorials. You can follow all this really good tutorial from Shapr3D. I just want to show you how I can, we can start with creating something really abstract. So when you start with Shapr3D, you get this something that looks like Blender. Right click, drag is to do this panning. Shift and right click is to do this orbit rotations. And then scroll to zoom in, zoom out. You can also hold control and right click motion. You are presented with this tool, sketch, add, transform, and whatever tools. Don't worry about that. I'm just gonna do something really simple. I'm gonna start with sketching, and when you hit on sketch, you get all these tools, line, arc, and we can start drawing. I will draw from the top view. I will reposition this. I'm gonna use the line tool. Okay, with the line tool, I think click and drag will create line. So click and drag, or you can click and then click, like to continue drawing this way. You can see as you draw, there's also all this measurement. So you can do something really precise like CAD using this app. So I just draw something pretty dodgy there. And yeah, I can keep drawing and making outlines. I will escape and I will continue using other tools, like for example the arc. Click and drag. I can draw this. Let me I'm actually pretty new with this app as well, so still trying this app. So anyway, this is for drawing. I can hit escape. So I just draw something that's completely abstract, and I can also draw rectangle and draw another rectangle, and they are all overlapping, right? Now if I shift and right click, I end up with this drawing, and there's this blue thing. What's going on? What I really like about Shapr3D is that once you draw these shapes, you can actually just select the face and then kind of extrude it. And this is a kind of, you might think, okay, this is just like a polygon extrude, right? Yes and no, because this is actually still connected to original drawing, the sketch plane. And you can actually modify all the shapes and then it will update. I haven't gone like too advanced with this, but I just want to show you that you can create some complex design very quickly. Even though, okay, this is with CAD, you can actually go to any face and then start drawing from there. Let me try doing that. So this is like, this face is in angled, right? You can select this face and then hit space bar. Oops. Normally if I select face, I can start drawing on that face. Yeah, I think it's kind of doing that. Okay. Let me hit escape. Close. Rotate. Yep, it's drawing on that plane. Okay, and then you can do something that's really like pretty much like BoxCutter, right? Let me do that again. Select this face, spacebar. Oh, actually, let me escape again. While this is hovering here, hit spacebar. Okay, now it's working. Now I can start drawing line. Precisely drawing the lines. If you want it to be aligned to the grid, you can. So I just draw another shape. Now we can do, okay, let me hit escape. Escape, close, and we get these shapes. We can extrude. Can push in, push up. Not just that, however, the cool thing about Shapr, let me try to realign myself. You can select an edge. Oh, yeah, you can select edge like this, and then you can easily bevel it. You can bevel it like totally unlike any other app. See, you can have that kind of smooth shape or this kind of bevel shapes very easily. And for example, for this type of shapes, if you are in Blender, because Blender is using polygon, it's not a CAD. However, with this, with Shapr3D, you can select that edge and then easily create bevel. Oh, actually, it doesn't like that corner somehow. So I will try to bevel on this corner. Yep. Okay, this one works. How about this guy? I can bevel. Yeah, I can chamfer fillet pretty easily within the boundary of the original shapes. I can do like so this is not extrude, but if I really want, I can do extrusion as well. This is like using the original shapes and then pushing and pulling. So it's not like creating non-manifold polygons. Let me do, I can easily bevel that area, and then I can also use things like, maybe for this face I want to do there's a shell, there's offset edge, so I'm offsetting the edge. I can go further, even break this, you know, like I can do that sort of thing, and extrude in, extrude out. So we end up with something super abstract, and I think yeah, you can create a proper model. In my case, I like to do abstract things, so just, you know, like make random stuff. Sometimes I found it to be quite relaxing. This is for your own kind of 3D works. Let's say, okay, you want to work on that face. Let's select that and then hit spacebar. So I'm working on that face and I can start drawing. So Shapr3D, there's a learning curve as well, but it's quite intuitive if you spend a bit of time working on this. So now I really, oops, I tend to do that. Let me close this, delete this drawing, and I can push that. Similar to BoxCutter, yep. But I really like the way Shapr3D just allowing easy beveling. Yeah. Let me try making some bevel. It will actually it will allows a lot of easy beveling like this. If it's failing, okay, look at this. This shape's quite beautiful. If it's really hard to calculate, it will tell you, okay, you're trying to do bevel that's really hard to calculate, and it will not allow you to do that. But most of the time you can make a rounded edge quite easily. If you want to do like something that's more complicated later, you can do that inside Blender. But like I said, this app is not 100% free. I mean, for student, feel free to use this app. And I think even the app is not expensive. It's just $20 per month for the basic one. But it's really really powerful, and I think it's quite worth it. You can extrude like in Blender. They didn't really call it extrude. It's not really an extrusion, it's something more complex. Like around, so it's starting to get pretty weird, but you can easily make cut anywhere and as you like if it's like box cutter, let's say you want this shape, you want to work here, hit spacebar, just draw something. BoxCutter and GridModeler is an add-on for Blender that I often use, and they're also unlocking a lot of unusual feature of Blender. Yeah, I don't know what I created, but yes, just like a random abstract architecture design. You don't always create abstract stuff, but yeah, you can actually model something like a serious model using Shapr3D. There's a lot of example here. Let me see. Yeah, you can create this kind of things for 3D printing, actual design, even like cars or like really like 3D design. Okay, let's say I'm pretty happy with this. So I created my drawing. I want to go back and export this out into Blender. This is the free version. We can only have 2 drawing file. We can export it out as STL. Select STL, and then use low quality. Export. Save it on the desktop. Now let's go inside. Let's go back to Blender mode. Import STL from the desktop. Okay, so we have our model. So this is what the free version of STL, free version of Shapr3D will give you. Everything is triangulated. If you go to edit mode, you can F3 and then trace to quad, removing some triangles. You can clean up some of the stuff. It's pretty clean. It's not too bad. You get all the shapes. You can recreate. You can read topology. At this point, you know, because it's inside Blender, let's save this. So Shapr, cool. I really like Shapr3D, Blender, and I also really like things like BoxCutter. At this point, you can freely use BoxCutter and adding more detail as needed. So even like with BoxCutter, there's a learning curve. It's like BoxCutter giving you ability to make a quick cut like this. That's not normal. I mean, it's a boolean, I know, but the tools, the interface is really pretty much like a CAD, computer aided design. And normally this kind of CAD design allowing you to work like non-destructively. So this is BoxCutter. I mean, like at the very basic, it's drawing all this cut on the 3D. It's trying to align it on the surface and make a cut. Okay, let's turn on this cavity. It's drawing all this history, right? This is Boolean history. We can just apply all the booleans. This is BoxCutter, right? On top of, besides BoxCutter, I also like another add-on called GridModeler. You can select any face, right click, and then create a grid. Very similar to Shapr3D. Okay, I realize my model is probably too big or too small. 279 meters. I'll just make it smaller. View, frame selected. Apply all transform. Now I think it's a good size to work with. Go to edit mode, select a face, right click, grid modeler. Okay, now I can scale my grid similar to Shapr3D. I can hold option and scroll, and I can start drawing on the grid. I think this is a really good way of thinking when drawing or modeling things. I just draw an end gone there. It doesn't really like it, so I just make something. I can just create a face, basically. Grid modeler is really good to do this kind of thing. This is a separate object, of course, but it stick to that edge. Yeah, like this kind of face, we can clean up the face. The bevel, we're just gonna leave it. That's the one from Shapr3D. But I just really like working this way, you know. You can do inset, proper inset, extrusion. This is the normal Blender 3D modeling tools, you know, like inset, extrude, scale. You still need to know the basic, but for this kind of thing, this is angled. You can right click, create grid modeler, and then do the option, scroll, and draw on top of it. I think this is pretty handy, pretty fun way to work, to create like a concept art or science fictions kind of design. Yeah, even, I mean, with BoxCutter and GridModeler, there's a lot of learning curve there. But for what I'm doing, it's just pretty abstract and random. Or sometimes the cut is pretty brutal. It doesn't like it. Most of the case, it will happily do a cut for you. Just, you know, adding this weird cut and details all over the place. Sci-fi kind of movie. Oops, doesn't like the boolean. Yeah, I don't mind that cut. Some booleans cut, of course, will fail. But the fact that we can create something that's really complicated like this in just a few minutes, it's pretty amazing. I mean, this day you're given a lot of tools, really cool tools. Most of them are almost pretty much free. And BoxCutter is not free, of course, and GridModeler also is not free, but it's pretty useful tool. GridModeler, I cannot remember all the functions, but with GridModeler you can also draw a pipe. Hit spacebar and then I forgot 9. Yeah, see, you can easily make pipes. It's really weird the way all the shortcuts, but once you get used to it, yeah, it's very handy. Oops, RY90 minus. Come on. I need to study some of these tools properly. Let's do that again. Select this face, right click, GridModeler. You have nice grid. Click, 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 click. Spacebar 9. RY, or actually RYY 90 degree minus. Okay, this kind of thing is pretty easy to create using GridModeler. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about. It's basically yeah, it's a this free app to use if you just want to export the low poly STL, and then something that you can bring into Blender and you can render it nicely using what is this, Cycles X. Add a bit of light, some environment, sky texture, Nishita, just one of these. And you can, of course, if you're okay, because this is on a Mac, just F3 Smart UV very quickly, save, file, export, USD. Okay, let's use USD because you can easily look at it and something that you can export as AR. So it's a Shapr3D to do some CAD modeling. It's actually pretty real app, you know. Okay, it's missing material. With USDZ, if you want to export properly, you need to have at least one material. File, export again, USD, export. This doesn't always refresh. Let's do that again. Okay, you can add some textures, documents, materials. I only have my bamboo material. It's okay. Metalness, roughness. Cool. Yeah, we make some kind of design, weird design. Maybe this is like a playground for the next Squid Game or some sort. File, export as USDZ. So you can export it as USDZ. So just airdrop it into iPhone or iPad. You can send it to your friend. It should work as long they have iPhone or iPad. But you can also use Sketchfab to share your model, I guess. Yeah, it's looking pretty neat. Looks like a playground, I guess. People can climb. Okay, so yeah, I talked too much, but that's basically a quick look at Shapr3D. There's a lot to learn about this app, but yeah, like I said, this is like very unusual app. You can do some really neat design that you normally you think, okay, that's probably too hard, and or you see, okay, it says operation failed, but most of the time it's allowing you to flexibly, you know, like move things around. Quite pretty awesome looking, pretty awesome tools available on Windows, Mac. But what I really like is really the fact that you can select any edge and just bevel it. Okay, so hopefully this is useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.